It is Tuesday, September 28th. Boy, look at this phone bounce of 2021. And I'm back from Macstock and have all kinds of interesting stories to tell you about. All today. Come on. Here we go. On Guy's Daily Drive. Bam! Bam! And welcome everyone to Guy's Daily Drive. This Guy's Daily Drive is going to be a struggle because this phone is just not steady. It is bouncing. And I don't know what I can really do about it. I can't do anything about it right now, but I need to get something that I can put inside the mount so that it'll be a little more gripped against the rear view mirror stock, because right now it's just kind of waving back and forth. Such is life. Such is life. You know, if this is the worst thing that happens to me today, what a wonderful day it is. Seriously, it's not that big of a deal. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. So here's the thing. I left for Chicago last Thursday, and it was glorious to get out of town. It really was. It was a lot of fun. I just wanted to be someplace other than this area. Coffee. And in that regards, it was very successful. Chicago is not DC. And things started out pretty well, actually. My wife took me to the airport. I had everything packed. For some stupid reason, I took a small backpack filled with microphones. I don't know why. I didn't need them. I didn't need any of them. I didn't even really need my usual portable podcast rig. I could have left that behind. You know, I had a ATR 2005 XLR USB microphone, and that all by itself would have been fine for the most part. And the reason why I didn't even really need that is I didn't end up recording anything the whole time I was there. Part of it was I was really super busy. The other part of it was I had forgotten that I'd put, I'm blanking on the name of the next Mac OS, whatever that one is, the one that hasn't come out yet. After Big Sur. Monterey, there we go. I had the Monterey beta on my MacBook Air, and none of my Rogue Amoeba apps are set to work with it yet. So none of that was going to work anyway. I could have just gone and used GarageBand, which is fine, or Hindenburg, because I had Hindenburg. The problem was going to be getting Gaz or whoever else that I had on via a VoIP of some kind. And there are ways around it, and I'm sure I could have figured it out. But like I said, I was pretty busy the whole time. And so, you know, just wasn't able to get it going. I know we had a speaker that whose presentation wasn't able to be used during the course of the day for Macstock, and that would have been the perfect time to do like a little quick podcast, but couldn't get it set up and couldn't get a hold of Gaz in the time period that I had to do that. And it's not Gaz's fault. I mean, it was all kind of impromptu. It was like, oh crap, we can't do this, so let's just do a podcast with Guy instead. And there just wasn't time to set stuff up. And there were some technical issues with the whole you know, we had a couple of virtual environments. The speakers were in one virtual environment, and everybody else was in another virtual environment. And we'd gotten everything set up on Friday, and everything worked just fine. The only potential issue was going to be echo, or you know, sound coming back into the microphones from the overhead projector that we were using, so that everyone that was there could see the presentations. You know, the few people that we had, like 12 people, I think, that were there live, that had paid to be there live and was able to make it, which was great, because it's so much easier to work with a live audience than it is to you know, just say, hey, here we are, here's the stuff, and, you know, throw up a slideshow or a presentation or something along those lines. And, you know, I mean, all in all, everything worked reasonably well. We were able to get everything accomplished that we wanted to get accomplished, that we could get accomplished. And the overall feedback seemed to be pretty positive. So no complaints there. And Mike, of course, did a fabulous job of putting everything together, making sure all the T's were crossed and all the I's were dotted. And Dave was there kind of monitoring stuff in the background. God, look at this thing bounce around. I don't really know if it was, you know, it probably really wasn't necessary for me to be there. But I wanted to be there. I wanted to help. So there I was. Now, but as far as, oh my God, as far as getting there, this was like the first flight I had taken in a while. And it was on United, which is not one of my personal favorite airlines, but I did have exit row seats there and back, which meant that I had enough leg room. I was a little bit iffy in the width department, but it's going to be like that no matter what airline I fly, pretty much. But I get to, oh, almost forgot. The coolest thing, when I got to the airport, I was walking to my gate and I saw this plane taxi, and it had like all this Star Wars stuff on it. And I was thinking, wow, that's really cool. I wonder what lucky SOP is going to get to fly in a Star Wars plane. And then I get to my gate and I look at the plane that's there, and it was the Star Wars plane. It was so cool. They had it themed, you know, light side and dark side. It was some kind of marketing thing that they had arranged, that United had arranged with Disney, or maybe Disney arranged it with United. And so they rethemed a couple of the planes, and one side of the plane was the light side, the other side of the plane was the dark side. So on the light side, you had a white lightsaber and an X-Wing fighter, and then on the dark side, you had a red lightsaber and a TIE fighter on the outside. And even the seats inside were themed. One half of the plane had like the rebel symbols on them, and they were orange. I'm going to say they were orange, or maybe they were like a purple. And then the dark side had their symbol on it, the First Order, and they had their stuff on it. So that was really kind of cool. It was interesting that they had it themed all the way through like that. Martin says, love the Star Wars plane. Yeah, it's a little easier to read comments now. It was fun. It was a whole lot of fun. And the Star Wars plane really made it worthwhile. But then I get to Chicago, and the first bad thing happens. I get out of the airport, and you have to they've changed things around a lot in O'Hare, and they have like one main facility now for all the rental cars. So you have to get on this shuttle bus. And I mean, everybody has to get on the shuttle bus and go to the rental car facility, no matter what rental car company it is that you're using. And it's a long, meandering drive. It probably took us like 15 to 20 minutes of working our way around O'Hare Airport. And there's a lot of construction going on, so it's bouncy. It's bouncy all the way. And the bus is like just super packed. I would have gotten up and offered my seat to someone, but with my luggage and everything else, there was really no way to do the shuffle dance to let somebody else sit down. So I just sat there, and I get to the rental car place, and I get out, and I go walk up. I had Thrifty. I go up to the Thrifty counter and give them, I wait in line. Because of course there was a line. I wait in line, and I get to the counter, and I tell them my name and my reservation number, and they look, and I said, well, we don't have that car. It's like, oh, well, okay, what do you have? I said, we can give you a minivan, and which would not have been my personal choice, but they were like, minivans are all we have. And I was like, okay, well, I'll take the minivan. They're like, okay, that's $100 more. It's like, what? $100 more because you don't have the car that I reserved. I have to pay more for a car that I don't even want. But the only other choice, they said, well, you can either take the minivan and the $100 extra charge, or you can wait an hour or more before your car may or may not show up. And they were saying this to everybody that was coming up in line. And it was as far as customer service goes, Thrifty Car Rental, that was one of the worst experiences that I've ever had. Indifferent staff, a policy that punishes your customers because you don't have the car that they originally requested. And I let them, I've done 2 reviews so far. One with the company that I booked everything through. And once, Thrifty made the mistake of sending me a survey. And I filled them both out and gave them a lot of crap because it was a terrible experience. And it's not hard to figure out what to do in a situation like this. And yes, I get that because of the pandemic, a lot of the rental car companies, actually all the rental car companies, got rid of their big fleet of cars when it all started, because why would they? Why would they keep all these cars, pay for all these cars, knowing that they can't rent them? No one was flying, nobody could rent them. So I get that. And as things start to open back up again, they're not going to have the wide selection of cars that they did before. I understand that. That's not my dilemma. The dilemma wasn't the car. I wasn't happy that I had a minivan instead of the 4-door sedan that I requested and paid for and reserved. What makes me unhappy is that you charged me for it. You charged me because your company couldn't give me the car that I wanted. And I don't know if this is how other rental car companies are handling it, but this was a terrible experience. And it would take an extraordinary set of circumstances to get me to use Thrifty Car Rental again. And here's the thing, I don't know, because with the review that I sent in, I don't know if they're going to offer me some kind of compensation to pay me back for the $121 extra that I had to spend. I don't particularly want it back. I don't particularly care. It's not about the money. It's that you didn't have the car I wanted and you charged me extra for something I didn't want. Or told me I was going to have to wait an hour or 2 before you may or may not be able to get the car that I want. A terrible experience. And I won't go back to Thrifty again. And I won't recommend them to anyone either. Don't use Thrifty. They're terrible. Or at least they were in Chicago. Maybe they're wonderful in other places, but all I can base my review on is the experience that